Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 2 minutes from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 2-minute time check, stations. Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 1 minute from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 1-minute time check, stations.
On the Hawkeyes Sports Network, from Learfield, live from View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn in downtown Iowa City. This is Hawk Talk, brought to you by Iowa Corn. You might think Iowa just grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Brought to you by Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. Mid-American Energy. Look up, look out for overhead power lines. Visit midamericanenergy.com for electrical safety tips. By your local Ford dealers. Also brought to you by U.S. Cellular, the official wireless partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes. U.S. Cellular, built for us. And by University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Here is your host, the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Good evening, everybody. It's Iowa State week. Yeah, the first of 4 trophy games. One that Hawk fans are uncompromising about. Really, the Cy-Hawk Trophy is once again on the line Saturday at 2:30 over at Kinnick Stadium. And the Hawkeyes will be hosting the Cyclones. Our pregame coverage from Kinnick starts at 12:30. And enough said, right? Well, not really, because once again this year, Iowa Corn, representing our Iowa farmers and consumers, is the presenting sponsor of the Iowa State game. Therefore, we talk about the Cy-Hawk Trophy. And in just a few minutes, we'll visit with Ralph Lentz, who's president of the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. A farmer for 45 years, he will join us. Ralph also serves as the beef superintendent of the Adair County Fair right down the road in Greenfield. Greenfield is the county seat for Adair County, where that devastating tornado roared through that community back in mid-May, killing 4 and injuring 35. Well, we're happy to tell you that Greenfield is on the rebound, on the bounce back, and doing well despite the tragedy and all the devastating damage that I believe it was an F3 tornado did this past spring. Lots of good to talk about where Hawkeye football is concerned. Iowa and Iowa State both out of the gate with victories last Saturday. Of course, Iowa, you heard right here, defeated Illinois State 40-0 with a big second half in its season opener. The Hawkeyes withstood a half a dozen penalties in the first half and then really got the offense cranked up in the second the third and fourth quarters. The defense, of course, was spectacular from start to finish again. We'll review all that, but first let me tell you we're at View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City, high atop the Hilton Garden Inn on the 12th floor. You're welcome to join us tonight. Great crowd here as the early moments of the show get underway, and we'll be visiting with Coach Ferentz. That's the best news of the week. Kirk, other than the victory, of course, Kirk is back in the saddle as the head football coach of the Hawkeyes, serving his one-game suspension. He'll be here shortly after 7 o'clock. We've got plenty to talk about in between now and then. We're here every Wednesday night for Hawk Talk. You can stop by, too, on football Saturdays to View Rooftop. It's a terrific experience, unique to Iowa City, where you can immerse yourself in an invigorating environment with comfortable, contemporary indoor and outdoor seating. Folks are out on the veranda, out on the deck tonight, enjoying this beautiful day in Johnson County. We've got high-definition televisions all over the place for watching Hawkeye football. On game day especially, tailgate specials coming up Saturday, live music. Really enjoy the camaraderie and celebrate with a toast at View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn, downtown Iowa City. You can call tonight for reservations this weekend, 319-519-4650. That's 319-519-4650. The Hawkeyes have won 7 of the last 8 in this series with the Cyclones, and 8 of the last 10 meetings dating back to 2013. The victory a year ago in Ames was Kirk Ferentz's 200th career win, so that was pretty special. Last week, though, more modern day or back to present day, the Hawkeyes piled up 492 yards of total offense with first-year offensive coordinator Tim Lester calling the plays against the Redbirds of Illinois State. What a spectacular second half in particular, but a solid game plan, really, for 4 quarters. The Hawks wounded themselves a number of times with those 6 penalty flags in the first half. The defense turned over Illinois State twice, yet penalties stymied the Hawkeye offense. Had a punt return for a touchdown by Caden Weegan called back. So really, theoretically or realistically, that could have been a 20 to 25 nothing first half lead. But the Hawks will take 40 to nothing against anybody, any day, any time. Cade McNamara, terrific debut, threw 3 touchdown passes, and they all went to newcomer wide receivers. How about pure freshman Reese Vanderzee, caught 2, and Jacob Gill, the transfer from Northwestern. Now he's not a youngster. He's a 4th-year guy. Redshirt junior who transferred in with quarterback Brendan Sullivan. There's a great run by Cade McNamara if you're watching on KCRG channel 9.2 or our Hawkeye YouTube channel. There's the touchdown pass, a great circle back to the throw by Jacob Gill. And Cade moving very well in the pocket and out of the pocket. And there you've got Gill splitting that double team and getting the Hawks some early momentum in that second half. Iowa coming out and scoring on their first 2 drives of the second half really was huge, not only for last week, but certainly for the season moving forward. Defensively, what can you say? The Hawks held another opponent under 400 yards of total offense. In fact, Illinois State didn't reach the 200-yard mark. Aaron Graves had 3 of Iowa's 4 sacks. There's one right there. He was spectacular on the afternoon. And the Hawks forced 3 turnovers. I mean, that's a pretty good day's work by anybody's measurement. So we'll look at highlights more as we roll through the show tonight. We're here until 8 o'clock, of course, each and every Wednesday night at View Rooftop. There are a number of ways you can reach us on Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz, and we've got a lot of Facebook posts, a lot of tweets, Twitter questions on Twitter that have already come into the studio. But let me give you the addresses. If you'd like to visit with a coach or ask a question or make a comment, you can reach us on Twitter at Gary Dolphin, on Facebook at facebook.com/Voice of the Hawks. We have a U.S. Cellular text line. Thank you to U.S. Cellular this year for sponsoring our text line. That number is 319-853-8344. 319-853-8344. Or you can email us your question. No excuses. You can reach us on email at hawktalk@HawkeyeRadioNetwork.com. That's hawktalk@HawkeyeRadioNetwork.com. sportsnetwork.com. Corey Sheets, who's punching the buttons tonight, our producer-engineer, will gather up your questions, your tweets, your text messages, forward them on to Coach and I, and we'd be happy to get to as many as we can over the next 90 minutes. You can watch us, as I mentioned, on KCRG 9.2. Aaron and the crew are here again tonight, and they're here each and every week, and we appreciate KCRG 9.2's support of Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz from View Rooftop. We're also on the official Iowa Hawkeyes YouTube page, as we are each and every game day, not just on Wednesday evening. Iowa State, Matt Campbell in his 9th year at the helm over in Ames. Cyclones have had 6 winning seasons out of their last 7. So Matt has built a solid program over there. They're one of the favorites for the Big 12, the new look Big 12 this year, with the likes of Utah, Oklahoma State, and others. The Hawkeyes, of course, in the new look Big 10 with 18 teams now and no divisions. The Hawks showing signs that they are as well a contender for perhaps that expanded college football playoff race coming up. Lots to be decided, though, between now and then. There's been a lot of talk about this game being played so early in the season. Iowa State, such a massive collision showdown between our two state Division I universities, Power 5 institutions, and here it is on the second week of the season. Most rivalry games like this are played at the end of the year, not Iowa State. I've always said it's unique in the fact that you have 2 in-state Division I schools from different conferences. Usually geographically, when you're this close to Iowa City and Ames, you're in the same league. Not the case with Iowa and Iowa State. USC, UCLA, always been in the Pac-12. Now the Big 10. Kansas State, always in the Big 12, or the Big 8 originally. The Big 6, I guess, even before the Big 8. But not Iowa State. I think that's what makes this series unique for a lot of reasons, but most notably is not only do you have the Cyclones versus the Hawkeyes, but you've got Big 12 versus Big 10. Coach Ferentz will be back on the sidelines, as I mentioned, on Saturday, and we'll talk with Kirk. What did he do last Saturday? How did he hang out at his abode, and how nervous was he? What was the tempo with he and Mary in the house at the same time? We'll get that from Coach when he gets here. Iowa State at 2:30 on Saturday here on the Hawkeye Radio Network, 12:30 for the pregame show. Back with more. We'll come right back, go to your questions, your comments, those that we can anyway, without the coach being here. We're brought to you by Hawkeyes Midwest. Hopefully, Mr. Farmer, Hawkeyes is in your farming game plan. Hawkeyes Bio 800 Plus products are enriched with soil microbes that build soil health and increase your yield. Soil nourishing, root stimulating. That's Hawkeyes Midwest. Go to Hawkeyesmidwest.com for more information. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to hear from Ralph Lentz, the president of the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. Iowa Corn is as big a part of this series as anything else when it comes to Iowa State. And, man, those Kelly Green stalks are reaching about as high as I've ever seen them on the drive down here today. I was noticing how beautiful that corn crop is looking. And in just a month, those stalks will be turning a beautiful golden brown right prior to harvest. Ralph will talk about Iowa Corn, what's going on with that great organization, great supporter of Hawkeye football, when we come back to View Rooftop, courtesy of Learfield.
Despite the unshakable Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk rivalry, there is one thing Iowa State and University of Iowa fans can both agree on: getting hyped for Unleaded 88. It's cleaner burning and better for your engine, and it's cheaper than other fuel options, making Unleaded 88 the clear fuel choice. If Iowa Corn's Cy-Hawk rivals can agree on it, you know it's worth the hype. So pump it up with Unleaded 88, grown by Iowa corn farmers.
Hey Hawkeyes, this is Kirk Ferentz. My players know that success on the field and off the field requires a strong work ethic and constant improvement. That's true no matter what field you're on. There are less than 5% of Iowans making a living off the land. The Hawkeyes are proud to celebrate Iowa's hard-working farm families. Agriculture touches lives in so many ways. We feel it's important to recognize the men and women responsible for producing our nation's food, fuel, and fiber. Farmers are the backbone of the state of Iowa and the whole country. That's why our players are proud to wear the A&F logo on their helmets. It serves as a reminder to all of us, America needs farmers. Join the Hawkeyes and the Iowa Farm Bureau as we celebrate America's farmers during A&F Game Day on October 12th. You could win the ultimate A&F fan package, 4 reserve seats, sideline access, and an autographed football. To register, visit americaneedsfarmers.org.
When it comes to your health, you need the full picture. That means the right diagnosis and the right treatment right from the start. I'm Aaron Bose, pediatric neurologist with University of Iowa Healthcare. Here, we're working together every day to advance medicine so you can get the best care. With more research, more clinical trials, and more treatment options than anywhere else in the state, the University of Iowa Healthcare is changing medicine and changing lives. Learn more at uihc.org.
When you live in the Midwest, you're accustomed to leading the nation in certain things, from corn and pork production to eggs and soybeans. And now we're adding another product to that list, clean, renewable wind energy. By investing in wind turbines and partnering with area farmers and landowners, Mid-American Energy is harvesting wind power that's homegrown right in our very own backyard, which not only provides customers with low, stable energy rates, but also the support to make our Midwest communities safer and stronger.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024, U.S. Bank.
Hey, welcome back to Hawk Talk. We're live at View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City, 12th floor of the Hilton Garden Inn. You're welcome to join us each and every Wednesday night for Hawk Talk with the head coach of the Hawkeyes, Kirk Ferentz. I'm Gary Dolphin. Iowa State coming up on Saturday at 2:30 mid-afternoon kickoff. The weather looks incredible, magnificent, mid-60s, hovering maybe around 70 degrees by the time we get to halftime, but it's a great early fall, late summer day for Hawkeye football, and the Cyclones are coming to town. And it's all sponsored by our friends at Iowa Corn, the Iowa Corn Promotion Board, and our Iowa Corn farmers. And it gives me a great pleasure in introducing Ralph Lentz, who is the president of the Iowa Corn Promotion Board, a farmer for close to 50 years. You're down around Greenfield, or in Greenfield?
Well, I'm just north of Greenfield, about 7 miles.
Well, let's talk about the tornado that roared through there in May and get an update there. Oftentimes a tragedy like that disappears from the media too quick. And we're Iowans here, so we care about Iowans everywhere, from Omaha to the Quad Cities. How are things going in Greenfield?
Well, it's starting to come back. We got it cleaned up pretty good, not completely yet. There's houses starting up. You're starting to see a lot of houses, foundations getting poured, and it's on its way back, but there is a very shortage of housing right now. There's a lot of people living in basements of friends and relatives.
It's a long process for something like that. What did it do to the crop?
The crop at the time, we had it planted, but it didn't really hurt the crop at all. The one thing that did happen, though, is that town, once we got a month down the road, there was corn growing all over town. It picked up all the volunteer corn out in the fields, all the corn seeds, brought it to town, dropped it, and we had corn plants growing everywhere.
Well, we got corn farmers we didn't know we had, right?
That's right. We have a corn crop in Greenfield.
Well, hopefully they join the Iowa Corn Promotion Board or Iowa Corn Producers Association. But, well, all the best to our friends, our Hawk fans down in the Greenfield area, and Iowans. We unite in times like this, and it's great to hear that the community is bouncing back. One of my all-time favorite movies is Cold Turkey.
Yes.
Norman Lear production, Dick Van Dyke. I think Bob Newhart was even in that movie a long time ago, but it was the town had to commit to quitting smoking for 24 hours. They get like $1 million, I think.
Yes.
And by the 22nd hour, they were punching each other in the nose. Great concept. Norman Lear, of course, who just passed away about a year ago at the age of 100. Well, let's talk Iowa corn. I was mentioning about how beautiful that crop looks on the way into town today. Ralph, I'm sure you agree.
Yes. It looks pretty good all over the state. We're going to be right up there with one of the best corn crops we've ever raised. It's going to be well over 200 bushel.
Hopefully we can get the price up there a little bit.
Yeah, we need a lot of help there.
A little hovering around $4 or a little less than that a bushel.
It's a little on the weak side of $4.
Well, for those of you who, and we've been talking about Iowa corn for a lot of years where the Hawks are concerned, it's more than just corn. It's fuel, it's food, it's over 4,000 products, and we've had fun promoting some of the different products. What are some of the latest products that are derived from the corn crop?
We're working on a lot of plastic derivatives right now. I don't know. We're in some projects and doing some research, but I can't really talk about some of them yet because they haven't.
Still secret, huh?
Yeah, it's still secret yet. But we're trying to create a lot more demand because we got a lot of corn to grind through, and anything we can do to create more demand, that's what we're after. But we're sure finding a lot more uses for corn.
Iowa corn has always been and is even more involved now in renewable fuels.
Correct. We got a program right now, this Pump It Up program of unleaded 88. I hope everybody, when they take off for the game tomorrow, stops and fills up with unleaded 88. It's a cheaper, cleaner burning fuel, and they save a lot of money. I stopped in Des Moines today because their gas is a lot cheaper than ours. I saved 60 cents a gallon.
Wow, 60 cents a gallon?
Yes, it's not much difference.
My, oh my. That's and you know, when they first came out with 88, a lot of car dealers would say, well, don't burn 88, burn 87 or 89. But now as they've refined it and made improvements, 88's good for most engines, isn't it?
Yeah, anything from 2001 newer.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. That's good. Throw that
That's
out.
a pretty old car, 2001.
Well, it is by today's standards, yeah, indeed. The Pump It Up campaign. So fans, pump it up with unleaded 88. It's cleaner, cheaper, certainly, and homegrown by Iowa's corn farmers. It's the clear choice at the pump. From repeat surveys, Ralph Lentz, we know that Iowa farmers want the Iowa corn checkoff to increase demand for ethanol and promote its benefits to consumers. And, you know, we consumers want to know more about biofuels and products made from corn, correct?
Correct. A lot of people have a misconception on corn or ethanol that there's some waste in there, but every time we make a gallon of ethanol, there's nothing goes to waste. The DGGs go to livestock. We've got corn syrup out of corn sweeteners. There's nothing waste. It all goes back into the food chain. So that's another misconception. They think that by making ethanol that we're robbing food away from people. We're not.
Not true. This guy knows what he's talking about. Governor Branstad appointed you to the Environmental Protection Commission back in 2015. You've previously served on other boards that keep the environment in proper view. And, you know, farmers really, not just you, but farmers everywhere are always concerned about our environment, about taking care of the land.
Yes, we are. Most everybody has a family operation. You want to pass it down to the next generation. You want to leave that farm in better condition than when you found it. So you're doing all kinds of conservation programs to save soil, make the water cleaner. You know, we're just good for the environment, and we're very conscientious of what we're doing.
97% of the farms in Iowa are still family-owned. That percentage shocked me a little bit. I didn't realize it was that high yet, because all you hear about are the big corporations internationally or here in the United States wanting to come in and buy up the land.
In Iowa, that doesn't happen very often because, you know, families are right there or neighbors. Not very often anybody from the foreign across the waters gets a chance to buy anything.
Now, you know, total disclosure, Ralph is an Iowa State grad, but we're going to look past that tonight. But since you're a farmer, I get the Iowa State connection. But have you followed this series down through the years?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I've probably watched every game.
It's great.
Yes.
It's great to have these two schools collide every year, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I love it, and I'm glad Iowa Corn supports it, and we're a proud sponsor of it. And you know, it's just a great series for everybody. When that game's on, over 70% of the people in the state of Iowa are watching or listening to it. So, you know, there's a lot of interest in Iowa, and it's just a great series.
It's like another holiday right after Labor Day, isn't it?
That's right. It's the beginning of a new season.
Well, you come from one of my favorite parts of the state. Adair County. I mean, I'm a big history buff, so I've been to Dexter where Bonnie and Clyde had the shootout, and Jesse James' first train robbery was
at Adair.
Correct. Right off just south of the interstate there. So it's a beautiful part of the country. We're a great tourism state, and our farmers are a major part of that, Ralph, and we thank you for stopping by tonight. And no doubt we'll see you Saturday over at Kinnick, huh?
Yep, I'll be there. I'll be down the field giving the wave.
Okay, yeah, that's another great thing. Thanks, Ralph.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
How about a hand, ladies and gentlemen, for Ralph Lentz, president of the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. Hawk Talk with Kirk Ferentz will continue and roll along in a minute from View Rooftop here from Learfield.
Tournament Club of Iowa, designed by golf legend Arnold Palmer. TCI is his only signature course in the state. TCI is a public course offering a challenging yet enticing experience for golfers of all levels and is managed by Kaler Golf. Cap off your round with breathtaking views and a delicious meal at the TCI Bar and Grill. Looking for a unique setting for your wedding party or outing? Look no further than the newly renovated clubhouse at TCI. Visit tcofiowa.com to book your tee time today.
Hawk fans, be sure to visit and connect with these local business partners of the Iowa Hawkeyes, located in the Des Moines area. Card Law, Community Choice Credit Union, and Royal Flooring. At Community Choice, it's simply a mortgage. No hoops that jump through or limbo sticks to go under. Just a straight, easy path from point A to point B. It takes less than 60 seconds to get started at unpackyourmortgage.com. Loan approval subject to credit score and analysis. See Credit Union for details. Equal opportunity lender.
What are you craving? The Wig and Pin in Ankeny, across from DMAC, is proud to offer dine-in and carry-out. Home of the famous Flying Tomato Pizza and Chicago-style deep dish, the Wig has all of your favorites, including thin crust pizza, appetizers, lots of sandwiches like the Turkey Club and Reuben, soups and salads you'll love, and a full bar. Call to order or just come on in for lunch and dinner. The Wig and Pin in Ankeny. What are you craving?
Hey Hawkeye fans, Lucy Olson with Iowa Women's Basketball here. Your support in the stands is critical to our success on game day, but now you have another way to make a real impact. Join the Swarm today and partner with my teammates and me to serve charities throughout Iowa. Together, we're making our state stronger and helping Iowa athletics become the place where we experience the thrill of winning championships. Head to iowaswarm.com for more information. Let's make a difference, Hawkeye Nation.
In the heartland, where ambition thrives, there are those who are made and those who are made for more. Just like the Hawkeyes on game day, Kloss, a leading producer of ag equipment, unleashes the power of ambition in the field. Discover why our cutting-edge machinery and unwavering support aren't just a promise, they're a commitment to your success. Because at Kloss, we know you are made for more. Visit your Kloss dealer or CLAAS.com.
Cedar Ridge Distillery continues to be the home of Iowa's favorite bourbon with the original 86 bourbon whiskey. Not only is it always made with Iowa corn, but we let Iowa put its own stamp on the whiskey by aging it in non-climate controlled rickhouses. Make your next drink with Iowa's favorite, the original 86 bourbon by Cedar Ridge. Learn more at cedarridgedistillery.com. Cedar Ridge Distillery, Swisher, Iowa. Please drink responsibly.
Great balance by the Hawkeyes last week in a win over Illinois State, 40-0 over at Kinnick Stadium. The Hawks hope to bring some more of that mojo, both offensively, defensively, and special teams. Saturday at Kinnick when the Cyclones come calling. Iowa State at 2:30 here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. Our pregame coverage starts at 12:30. Weather's going to be outstanding. And we look forward to seeing everybody in Iowa City this weekend. Xavier Wampa, one of Iowa's outstanding defensive backs, talked about the Cy-Hawk rivalry.
Yeah, it's a really big thing. You grow up watching the game. My dad went to Iowa State himself, ran track there, so it's a little household rivalry too, so it's a big thing. So just excited to go play in the game. A little bit. He'll throw little shots here and there. Just guys I grew up with too that he roots for too, so yeah.
Xavier, his dad went to Iowa State. He's happy to be a Hawkeye, and he talked about spying on Rocco Beck, the outstanding, talented quarterback for Iowa State.
He has a lot more experience. Obviously, the jump from year 1 to year 2, it's a big level, big jump you can make. So just from where he's grown, it'll be a really good competition for us. He's been able to make any throw on the field. He's an athletic guy, so we just got to stay focused and make the plays out there.
Another outstanding safety, Quinn Schulte. He's in his first year in dental school on the Cy-Hawk rivalry. He hopes to pull a couple teeth on Saturday.
I grew up as mainly Hawk fans. Both my parents went here to law school, so I always grew up a Hawk fan. So to me, it's just, trying to represent the Hawkeyes, putting together a good battle against Iowa State. I know that a lot of the state's divided, but we're just trying to go out there and compete. You just have to respect what it takes to win against them because they're going to be ready to go, and they've always come prepared, whether it's here or there, and they're always going to bring their best fight. So I think for us, that's the big thing is we got to be ready to go too.
A year ago over in Ames, the All-American cashback Sebastian Castro made a key play in that game. Second down, 15. Beck to throw, gets rid of it. Picked off, and going the other way for an easy score. Sebastian Castro, touchdown Iowa, touchdown Castro. Hawkeyes went on to victory over in Ames. That's 7 out of 8, 8 out of 10, and they look to keep the streak going for the Cy-Hawk Trophy this weekend. All right, Sebastian Castro on that defense. I know that was on Matt Campbell's mind in his press conference yesterday, talking about how the Hawks just sit in that 4-3. They wait, they bait you into mistakes, they bait you into turnovers, and he's preaching to his guys about taking care of the ball security. Both coaches, every head coach talks about taking care of the football. Again, Coach will be here shortly. Coach Ferentz will be here shortly. So if you want to jump on the Twitter, the Facebook, the U.S. Cellular text line, or email your questions. Here are the addresses one more time. On Twitter, @GaryDolphin. On Facebook, facebook.com/voice of the Hawkeyes. Our U.S. Cellular text line, new this year, courtesy of our friends at U.S. Cellular, 319-853-8344. 319-853-8344. And finally, you can email your questions to us on Hawk Talk, or at Hawk Talk, at HawkeyeRadioNetwork.com. Hawk Talk at HawkeyeRadioNetwork.com. We'll step out, take a break. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll pause 10 seconds for station identification. We're at the top of the hour. A 10-second ID break here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. Hawk Talk is coming to you live from View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City at the Hilton Garden Inn. 10-second ID break. You're listening to Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz. We'll step out, take a commercial timeout here from our wonderful sponsors, then come back to View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City at the Hilton Garden Inn. This is Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz from Learfield.
When it comes to your health, you need the full picture. That means the right diagnosis and the right treatment right from the start. I'm Aaron Bowes, pediatric neurologist with the University of Iowa Healthcare. Here, we're working together every day to advance medicine so you can get the best care. With more research, more clinical trials, and more treatment options than anywhere else in the state, the University of Iowa Healthcare is changing medicine and changing lives. Learn more at uihc.org.
At MidAmerican Energy, our 1.6 million customers depend on our energy 24/7. That's why we work 24/7 to deliver the safe, reliable energy you need. To keep our 99.9% reliability record, we're enhancing our technology, improving resiliency, and investing in critical infrastructure. We're generating power from all available resources to cover any increases in demand. And we're innovating to ensure you always have the energy you need. MidAmerican Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Hi, I'm Gary Dolphin, and if you want your home to be exceptionally comfortable during these cold Iowa winters and hot, humid summers, you need to turn to Dave Lennox and your local Lennox home comfort specialist. Lennox has been serving Iowa consumers since 1895, when Dave Lennox built his first furnace in Marshalltown, and Lennox is still building its high-efficiency furnaces and air conditioners there today. For the best home comfort system you can buy, it's Lennox and your local Lennox dealer. Lennox and the Hawkeyes. Now there's a winning combination.
At US Cellular, we believe in having healthy relationships with our phones, so we can have better relationships with each other. Introducing US Mode, a way to set your phone for less distraction and deeper connection. So dinner can sound less like this and more like this.
What'd you learn today?
The sauropod was the tallest dinosaur ever.
Oh my goodness.
Visit US Cellular in-store or online, and we'll help set your phone to US Mode, even if you're not a customer. US Cellular, the 5G network built for us. See uscellular.com for details.
How do you become America's best-selling brand? Let's break it down. Innovative tech means smarter and safer driving. Intelligent all-wheel drive will keep you ready for anything. And built Ford Tough Trucks will always get the job done. Plus, come into your local Ford store today and get super low APR financing, big cash back, and great lease offers on Ford's full line of cars, trucks, and SUVs. That's Ford, and that's how you become America's best-selling brand. Sales claim based on calendar year sales.
At US Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024, US Bank.
We are back at View Rooftop in Iowa City. Welcome back to our Hawk Talk program with Iowa football coach Kirk Ferentz. As usual, another great crowd here on a beautiful evening in mid-September. Early September. Thank you all for coming out tonight. We're brought to you by our friends at Iowa Corn. They're our major sponsors for Saturday's Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series. And throughout this series, not just football, but all sports that compete against each other, Iowa Corn promotes honest, hardworking values that are uniquely Iowan. On behalf of Iowa's corn farmers, they'd like to salute all athletes for their hard work and determination to be the best both on and off the field. Just like our top athletes, our state leads the nation in corn and ethanol production. Thank you, Iowa Corn. Go to iowacorn.org and learn how corn grows Iowa. On the U.S. Cellular text line, James checks in and says, Dolph, what and who impressed you the most about last week's game? Well, boy, where do we start? I mean, a lot of names that you're not familiar with really stepped up big, particularly at the receiver and tight end position. Zach Ortworth made a huge catch for, I believe, 30 yards that gave Iowa a critical first down. And then the young man, Reese Vandersea from Northwest Iowa, caught 2 touchdown passes. The Hawkeye, it's just great to see the Hawkeye offense come alive. It had been dormant for quite a while in terms of yardage and points scored. And when Cade McNamara is healthy, you can see what he can do. He found Jacob Gill, the Northwestern transfer. He came in with Brendan Sullivan, the quarterback Sullivan, at the midsummer point. He was kind of a throw-in in the deal. And what I guess, James, to answer your question, Cade McNamara looked much more advanced, much more comfortable than I thought he would for opening day. I mean, the young guy hasn't played a whole lot in 2 years. And then this guy, suspended for the first half, came out on fire. Caleb Johnson in the second half scored 2 touchdowns. And they were blitzing a lot, and once he broke through that particular Red Dog, got to the third level, it was all over. Because as big as Caleb is, he's got breakaway speed. And he really lit up the crowd and the audience and the atmosphere to the tune of 2 touchdowns. He had 119 rushing yards on the day. Kamari Moulton, who started the game, he's going to be a star going forward. He had 65 net yards. Max White even got a carry or 2 for 21 yards. But I think Cade McNamara, let me start with Cade, because you can have the greatest surrounding cast or supportive cast in terms of backs and receivers, and the offensive line may be blocking the snot out of people. But if your quarterback is average or below average, then you're gonna have trouble moving the ball and scoring points. And there was a catch by Ortworth, the outstanding young tight end from St. Louis, highly recruited out of high school. Cade McNamara looked good on the run too. The couple times he had to break contain and get out of the pocket and run. He ran for a first down, but his passing, his medium to long range passing was pinpoint. And all you got to do is look at the stats. I mean, Cade was on the day 21 of 31 for 251 yards. the Hawks ran the ball 40 times for 242 yards. That's just a biscuit short of 500 total offensive yards. When you can offer up balance like that, you're going to win a lot of football games, especially with a defense like the Hawkeyes have. Luke Lachey, I haven't even mentioned Luke Lachey yet, and he led the Hawks in receptions last week with roughly a half a dozen, and he's going to be prominent all season long. The tight ends, there was a nice grab there by Luke reaching back here on Channel 9.2 KCRG or on the Hawkeye YouTube channel. Lachey is going to be such a factor for Iowa's offense this year, and he is the pacifier for Cade McNamara. Really, all the tight ends are. Cade's in trouble. He's going to be looking for big number 85 time and time again. And then the offensive line, we briefly mentioned them, for the first time in a long time. The O-line is, not only are they healthy, but they're deep. They've got starters really throughout the two deeps. And it was great to see Logan Jones come back in that second half. He got nicked, had to retreat to the locker room for a series or two, but then came back out. Logan has been dinged up with nagging injuries, not only this year but last year. But he came back and played and finished the game, and it's great to see the senior from Council Bluffs Lewis Central performing at a high level. He's on all of the watch lists that offer the center and the offensive linemen their top trophies of the year. So it starts with Logan Jones. He and Cade McNamara have a great relationship going and a lot of camaraderie, and that's important, center to quarterback. The guards were good last year. Connor Colby has been a stalwart out of Cedar Rapids Kennedy at that right guard spot, and they've thrown Connor out there at tackle, at left guard, where injuries were prominent last year. And Connor, by his own admittance, he got whipped a couple times when he was out of position, but his true home is at right guard, and that this kid was a freshman All-American a few years back, and now he's all conference consistently. So if Connor can stay healthy with Logan Jones off his left shoulder pad, and then on the left side, Bo Stevens has really come on here in the fall camp. Look for Bo to have a really good year, the junior out of Blue Springs, Missouri. And then at tackles, that's where the disruption had occurred the last couple years, whether it's Nick DeYoung or Mason Richmond. The tackles just could not stay healthy. And, boy, that's a heck of a disruption when you run as many zone schemes as the Hawkeyes do, both outside and inside. Well, now they're all healthy. Mason's a pillar there at left tackle, the senior from Leawood, Kansas. And Jennings Dunkers, who has moved into that right tackle position, won the Solon hay bale toss a few weeks ago, and that's always prominent right before football. Whoever wins that hay bale toss, look out. He usually goes on to have a great year. I think of Robert Gallery and Brendan Sheriff, and you talk about Iowa offensive linemen, you're talking about superstars for many, many years. And many of them won the Solon hay bale toss, but Jennings Dunkers is the latest. Nick DeYoung is backing up Jennings at right tackle, but Nick out of Pella, he's got a lot of starting experience. And really, the X factor last year was Tyler Ellsbury. I mean, Tyler jumped in there and played 2-3 games most of the way at center. He can play either guard position. He jumped in there last week when Logan went to the locker room, and fortunately Logan came back. And then names you need to get familiar with: Cade Pieper, Leighton Jones, two redshirt freshmen who were prominent in that recruiting class from a couple years ago. Jack Dotzler, who's a sophomore out of Waunakee, Wisconsin. He played a lot last year when the regular tackles were injured. Jack kind of thrown into the Lions den and performed admirably. Mike Myslinski is another guy you should keep an eye out for. The bottom line is the Hawks have 10 guys now in that offensive front that they feel comfortable. George Barnett has done a great job in coaching everybody up, and they're only going to get better. But they're veteran, they're salty, they're nasty, and they want to protect that quarterback, Cade McNamara, give him a full year under center, and we'll see what happens. Brendan Sullivan got in there a little bit in Cade's absence late in the game last week as they played everybody. So those are some of my thoughts offensively. Defensively, they came out and threw the first punch, just like we knew they would, and they held serve all afternoon long. I mean, the Hawks got two early turnovers in the game. Special teams contributed with a punt return for a touchdown that was called back by a penalty. But Aaron Graves, who has just gotten better and better with each snap, 3 sacks on the day. Sebastian Castro with the strip fumble and the recovery by the Hawkeyes. So Iowa had scoring chances in the first half. The penalties really hurt them. And they got that rectified, got everything correct, and that's at halftime, and came out on fire in the second half, and look for more of the same coming up on Saturday. So the Iowa defense of Phil Parker as strong as ever, and we expected that with all those veterans that returned, decided to come back this year, and they're looking spectacular. Now it's just one game against an FCS opponent. I get it, we get it, but Iowa can take a lot. They got one game tape now, and Coach Ferentz is walking into the room as we talk about that defense, and we'll get Coach's thoughts when he settles in. But one game's important because these guys have been hitting each other since last April, with 15 practices in March and April, and then the summer workouts, and then the fall camp. And so Iowa has been beating up on itself for 6 months. And now you got a game tape, Coach, that you can tear apart, and it really, as you like to call it, a teaching tape. And I'm sure it's paid a lot of dividends here in the first 3 days of the week.
Yeah, I think so. First of all, I apologize. I got to get back in a game week routine, so I'll be shooting for 7 o'clock next week.
That's all right.
I apologize about that.
You know I can fill with the best of them.
Well, I know you're good at that. Absolutely. Yeah, that's one of the best things about, at some point you got to, I just walked in, you're talking about the preparation that goes into it. Starting in January, and to your point, we work in the spring period. You get 15 practices against each other, and then another 20 during camp, and then you're into game week. So the guys at some point are a little bit tired of practicing against each other. That gets a little bit tiresome. And the other thing is, and this was very evident last Saturday, you really find out in games, what you are, who you are, and a lot of different guys at different levels. A lot of experienced players out there that played like they're experienced, and we had a lot of newcomers that I thought really did a good job, made a good showing. And then the challenge is to put it all together and get things to mesh. So I think a lot of encouraging things, a lot of good teaching moments, easy thing to cherry pick. The penalty situation, the first half, it was like a flashback to our Kids' Day scrimmage back in August where, I got tired of writing them down there. I don't know how many we had that day, but it was first day of officials. And, the bigger story is just how that impacts a football team. We had a punt returned, really nice play brought back with a penalty. And then offensively especially is where it kind of tends to get you. First and 15s, first and 20s are a lot different than second and 5, second and 4, those types of deals. So I'm not a big analytics guy, but the analytics show that just really impacts the way the game goes. And the more important thing is just our guys understanding, they're really being detailed and avoiding those situations, so you give yourself a chance to be successful. And clearly a much better job in the second half. But I think the bottom line, just really pleased with the effort of the guys and the way they prepared, and then certainly they showed up Saturday and competed. Against a team we had a lot of respect for, a very veteran team, a really good FCS team, and Coach Spack's been there a long time. They know what they're doing, and they made it tough on us. They brought. I lost track of blitzes also. I was charting those and kind of got lost in that shuffle. So it's interesting, but good to get the guys on the team, on the field, and good to get them in Kinnick. And that's another, study and concentration, staying focused on what you have to stay focused on. And, so every step along the way is going to be really important, but it was a good first step.
What I liked about, and you mentioned the veteran leadership of this team, was the 6 penalties in the first half would be enough to frustrate anybody. But those first 2 drives of the second half were spectacular, and that told me that this team's together. They shot a few toes off in the first half, but they regrouped at halftime and really looked like a different team offensively in that second half.
Yeah, it's when you play penalty free, that helps, and then our blocking was a little crisper. Completed a few passes, and the receivers did a good job getting the ball, making tough catches, things like that, and all of a sudden you get into a little bit of a flow. And it's an interesting thing in football, when you can get into a flow, get into a rhythm. It's just a great feeling, and when you can't, that's very, very, very frustrating. It's a lot of time a matter of inches or just little details. So But again, you can't. You can only do so much in practice. At some point, you got to get on the field and compete.
Well, you talk about tempo. If I hear one word in practice more than the other, it's you screaming tempo, rhythm, hit it. And we saw that in the second half especially.
Yeah, it just, you can't have momentum. When you're jumping off sides, lining up off sides, those things, if you're not completing passes, just really, so the tempo is something you establish. You're responsible for that. And when it's offense, especially, it's collective. Because really on offense, all 11 guys affect the other and impact the other. On defense, you can have a corner fall down, and if the ball is going the other way, it really doesn't matter because the quarterbacks don't always see all those things. So not that you want to try that or, take that risk, but it's interesting sometimes you can blow some stuff on defense and you don't pay for it. That's rarely true in offense. Usually it shows up in a way that's going to hurt you.
I was answering James' question on Twitter about what stood out to me most about last week's game. What did I like about it? I did about a 3-minute synopsis. You were bunkered in at the Ferentz abode. What did you like on balance about, since it was opening day, you're going to make mistakes, but what did you like about the performance overall?
Yeah, the biggest thing was I think we showed up and we were ready to go. It wasn't that we weren't trying in that first half. The effort was good. The guys are competing. And then I think, my biggest thing I felt best about when it was over was just the way the guys, nobody got shook. The came back in the second half. It didn't go perfectly, obviously. But they just came out and played better, which is the most important thing. And I'm not going to say they played any harder, but they played better, played cleaner. And that's how you get things done. And so, credit goes to our players first and foremost. The staff obviously did a great job. Internally making things, make sure everybody stayed on the same page and nobody panicked or any of that kind of stuff. And you got to remember that's why they play 60 games or 60 minutes in a game, and you play them all out. There's going to be ups and downs. It's just part of any game, and it's usually part of any season. So you just got to work through those things.
Young Reese Vandersea, did you see this in the recruiting process? What clicked with you watching his tape in high school? Yeah,
he's a guy we really had a lot of respect for and interest in. Saw him playing basketball a couple years ago when I was up seeing Zach Lutmer, and just a really impressive basketball player, 3-sport athlete, and I guess maybe 4-sport. Can't remember if he's track or not, but he's baseball, football, basketball. Got good size, good height. Just really like his attitude, and I was really impressed with that Saturday. I wasn't on the field, obviously, or in the locker room, but during the week he knew he was going to be playing and, just kept practicing. He's the same guy every day, just shows up and works hard, really good focus and concentration. And, you always wonder about guys that haven't played, what they're really thinking and, what that's going to look like. And I didn't get to see him in person on Saturday, but I saw him Friday night, seemed fine. And obviously when he went out and played, he just went out and played and competed. But he's a big, strong guy, a really good athlete, 3-sport athlete, and strong hands, aggressive in his play. And, it's just done a lot of good things in practice. So it's we felt really good about putting him out there and thought he was prepared and he really played well.
You told me early on in fall camp, keep an eye on number 5, Jacob Gill. He's almost kind of like a throw-in with Brendan Sullivan from Northwestern, but they came here as a pair, and boy, did he step up big Saturday. That touchdown catch, the catch itself was one thing. He just happened to be in the end zone. What a terrific play splitting that double team.
Really nice job, and he's been that way ever since he's gotten here. He got here late. Both he and Brendan have been playing catch-up getting here in June. But, just really, really good attitude, very serious, and he missed a lot of time last year. Didn't get to see much tape on him from last season, but just impressed us as a person. A really serious young guy and very focused, and that's a room that doesn't have a lot of maturity and a lot of game experience and production. So felt like he'd be a really good impact, have a good impact in that room in terms of providing leadership and, just a guy who knew how to practice, knew how to do things the right way. And he's done all that. Plus he's really practiced well. So, we thought that he would do some really good things, make catches out there, tough plays. And the offense, the way we're doing it right now, the receivers have to block a lot. And both he and Reese do a really good job of that as well. So just really impressed with everything we've seen thus far. Really glad he's here.
Cade looked comfortable to me anyway from the first snap. There were some, the penalty flags kind of stalled out a few drives, but man, he looked like a veteran.
Yeah, and I thought especially in the second half, that's really what you saw. first half maybe pushing things a little bit and pressing a little bit. And, you know, when you're a quarterback and you're a veteran guy, I just hope that you can run the risk. You know, I worry about guys like thinking they got to do too much, you know, and save the team, save the city, all that stuff. And, you know, all he's got to do is go out and play. You know, that's what we saw him really do well a couple of years ago at Michigan. And, you know, we were on the game field with him, and you get a feel for, I think, how players are and personalities are, those types of things. So, you know, but he hasn't been healthy, and that's been unfortunate. And as I said back in preseason, I guess it was, you know, there's a difference between 7-on-7, throwing routes on air, and I always get a kick out of the NFL quarterback workouts where guys like 32 out of 34, I hope so. The guy's like going to get drafted in the first round, and there's nobody playing defense. I mean, so you hope he can complete passes, nobody rushing you. And that's really what he missed. But I think, you know, it looked at me like it got caught up during this game. Being out there in the game, having game experience, ironically, he's one of our oldest players, yet maybe he needed that more than Reese or Jacobs, you know. I mean, it's just interesting. But he hasn't played, so there's only one way to get that, too. You got to get out there and go. And really good to see him perform, and I thought he really looked confident and comfortable in that second half.
Indeed. A couple names on defense before we take a break, Coach. Sebastian Castro, spectacular again. Not so much for his. I mean, he's one of the best tacklers on the team, but just his sixth sense of where to be on the field, where the play is going. He got the strip fumble. The Hawks got the recovery, but he's just always making plays as well as tackling. And he was spectacular again Saturday. He picked up right where he left off from last year.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think his story mirrors a lot of the guys that we've had, you know, here historically. You know, he's always been a good guy. He's always worked hard, and he's always been a tough player. But it was, you know, somewhere in the latter part of that 22 season where things just started to click for him. And, you know, it happens on special teams typically before it happens offensively or defensively, especially with defensive players because, you know, we tend to be defensive dominated on special teams. And there's a little less, you know, thought process reading, that type of thing on most special teams plays. But you know, somewhere in that latter part of the 22 season, yeah, he just really, boy, it just all clicked for him, and he's been playing fast ever since. And man, he's playing fast right now. So I mean, it's great to watch him play out there.
Aaron Graves, 3 of the 4 sacks. A lot of that had to do with two guys going after Y.A. Black seemingly on every snap. But I know you're concerned about developing depth at the tackle position, but those two guys stay healthy this season. Look out.
Yeah, and Wyatt's missed a lot of time, you know, over his career just because he's, you know, he's had some injuries. Not so much in season, but more so like the out of season where he couldn't maybe get some of the work in. He's going to do nothing but get better. Great attitude and a really good football player and another strong team leader. And then, you know, Aaron's been a little bit, you know, ahead of the curve, you know, since he got here for a young guy. And just, you know, I've been impressed because he just plays so hard for a young guy, you know, and I'm going back 2 years ago, and especially last year in his second year. Usually big guys, it takes a while for that to catch up. But, boy, he goes hard in practice, had an outstanding spring, and, you know, I'm not surprised he's playing or played well Saturday. He just really works hard. He works at it, and really good attitude.
Stand up and take about Dayton, Iowa, Southeast Valley High School. Aaron Graves, great part of the state, too. We've talked about Iowa Corn being our major sponsor for this weekend's game and the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series. Corn farmers up in Dayton as well. All right, we'll step out. When we come back, we'll have Coach. We'll go to our preview section of this week's opponent, the Iowa State Cyclones. A lot of good players on that other team that's coming to Kinnick for the Cy-Hawk Trophy Clash. We're sponsored tonight by Hawkeye Village. Entertain your clients or employees at each home game in Hawkeye Village, presented by Navigate Wellbeing Solutions. Village packages include game tickets, catered food. All you have to do is visit HawkeyeSports.com for all the details. Navigate Wellbeing Solutions is a proud partner of Hawkeye football, and Hawkeye Village invites you to tailgate with them here at one of these upcoming Iowa home games. And bring your Wendy's with you. Don't fight hunger. Don't fight hungry, Iowa. With Wendy's new Hawkeye Biggie Bundle, score a JBC, a 4-piece nug, a junior fry, small soft drink, and small Frosty at the Iowa nice price of just $7. Grab Herky's favorite at a participating Wendy's for a limited time only. And go Hawks. We're going away for just a minute. We're coming back to View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn here in downtown Iowa City on Hawk Talk with Kirk Ferentz from Learfield.
When you live in the Midwest, you're accustomed to leading the nation in certain things, from corn and pork production to eggs and soybeans. And now we're adding another product to that list: clean, renewable wind energy. By investing in wind turbines and partnering with area farmers and landowners, Mid-American Energy is harvesting wind power that's homegrown right in our very own backyard, which not only provides customers with low, stable energy rates, but also the support to make our Midwest communities safer and stronger.
Step into the action with the Fight for Iowa podcast. Join host Gary Dolphin as he takes you behind the scenes with Hawkeye coaches, athletes, and alumni. Tune in weekly on HawkeyeSports.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and more. Your front row seat to Hawkeye athletics.
When it comes to your health, you need the full picture. That means the right diagnosis and the right treatment right from the start. I'm Aaron Bose, pediatric neurologist with University of Iowa Healthcare. Here, we're working together every day to advance medicine so you can get the best care. With more research, more clinical trials, and more treatment options than anywhere else in the state, the University of Iowa Healthcare is changing medicine and changing lives. Learn more at uihc.org.
You might think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Corn can even fuel your drive to watch the Hawkeyes play when you choose Unleaded 88. It's a fuel that's cheaper, cleaner, and greener. Plus, it's homegrown, making Unleaded 88 the clear choice at the pump and totally worth the hype. So as you head to cheer on the Hawkeyes this season, don't just fuel up. Pump it up with Unleaded 88. Find Unleaded 88 at a station near you. Go to iowacorn.org/88.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024, U.S. Bank.
At US Cellular, we believe in having healthy relationships with our phones, so we can have better relationships with each other. Introducing Us Mode, a way to set your phone for less distraction and deeper connection. So dinner can sound less like this and more like this.
What'd you learn today? The sauropod was the tallest dinosaur ever. Oh my goodness.
Visit US Cellular in-store or online, and we'll help set your phone to Us Mode, even if you're not a customer. US Cellular, the 5G network built for us. See uscellular.com for details.
Upgrade game day with Hawkeye Village, presented by Navigate Wellbeing Solutions. Get game tickets, an exclusive pregame game party, all you can eat drinks, and more. Limited availability. Check out HawkeyeSports.com/Hawkeye-Village. Hawkeye Village, presented by Navigate Wellbeing Solutions.
We're back at View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City. Welcome back to Hawk Talk with Iowa football coach Kirk Ferentz. We're here every Wednesday, and we're taking your tweets, your emails, your Facebook posts. We even have a U.S. Cellular texting line. You can get a hold of Coach. We'll give you that number in a little bit. People do listen, Coach, and when I make a mistake, they're quick to point it out.
Which doesn't happen often.
Well, it's such a rarity, I know. But
exactly.
I was talking about the offensive line earlier, and I mentioned that Jennings Dunker, right tackle Jennings Dunker, had won the Solon hay bale toss this year, which is legendary in these parts.
Yep.
Actually, he won it in 2023 last year, and then you told me he sat out this year with a shoulder injury.
He had surgery back in January, and so there's actually a story to go with that. But anyway,
you begged him not to throw the hay bale.
I didn't have to say a word. He just decided he'd sit it out this year, precautionary, and which is smart. But he quickly let me know too the next day or Monday, I guess it would have been, that had he entered his, throw last year would have beaten Peepers. So he wanted to make sure Pieper understood that.
Well, let's give Cade Pieper his proper props. The freshman, is he redshirt freshman or freshman?
Yep, second-year player, redshirt freshman. Yep.
Out of Norfolk, Nebraska. Cade, 6'3", 255-pounder. He won the hay bale throw this year. So we've gotten that all straight now. But the bigger picture is you've got a lot of young talent starting and backing up in that offensive line. It's been a while since we've been this healthy and deep.
It is. It's really been good to watch and fun to watch actually in practice, because we've been a little bit more competitive that way, and that's what we're hoping to develop. And had some some unusual injuries, and a couple guys couldn't continue to play, all that type of thing, the last several years. So it's a real credit to the guys that did play and the way they hung in there. But I think that work that they put in and the experience that they've gotten, I think is really going to pay off for them. And it's it starts with guys like Mason Richmond, who's been here for a while now, and just really worked through some injury issues, done a really good job. Logan Jones and, Connor's a 4-year player. And we've put him in some tough situations during his time, and he's really practicing well and played well Saturday. And then you got Jennings and Bo, who are really a little bit younger, but really doing a good job. And I think we have developed, we're developing better depth than we've had in the past. So I left out Tyler Ellsbury and Nick DeYoung, 2 more seniors that, basically I consider those guys to be starters. And then you look at Cade Pieper, a guy who was under-recruited. He was, maybe 250, 245 in high school. We thought he had good growth potential. He's about 285 now, and he's going to be a really good football player. Just a really serious, great attitude, hard-nosed guy. And, some guys are going to, wherever. Panama City Beach in spring break. He's back, Kevin.
Lifting.
Yeah, well, Kevin Cowles, is that how you say that? I'm not a farm guy, but that's his idea, spring break. So just, a really hard-working kid and a really good prospect. But, things are looking a little bit better there for sure. And, Jennings, I'm guessing will be back next year to, defend his title.
The pride of Leno Winslow.
Or regain his title, I should say, not defend
Lena, Illinois. What do they give for that? A belt? They give a gold, like a wrestling championship
belt? Yeah, I'm not
belt?
sure. They didn't show me. I think maybe it's just about pride. I think, ownership and pride.
That's Solon for you, no doubt. A lot of pride in Solon. They've had a few good offensive linemen come out of that town as well. Hey, experience a high-energy rooftop bar with spectacular views. That's where we are in downtown Iowa City at View Rooftop, located on the 12th floor of the Hilton Garden Inn. Features a distinctly modern escape filled with a unique outdoor design. Open all day on Hawkeye football game day, including this Saturday with tailgate specials, View Rooftop specials. View Rooftop providing a memorable experience with food, music, and fantastic views of the Iowa City skyline. Now here's the phone number to call for reservations this weekend, 319-519-4650. 319-519-4650. Set up your View Rooftop reservation today. All right, let's preview the Iowa State Cyclones. Coach, we'll talk about the offense. We'll take a break, come back with the defensive side of things. But let's start with Rocco Beck. You were introduced to Rocco last year over in Ames. He's done a lot of good things for this football program in the year that he's been a starter. Yeah, it's a really good place to start because he's really performed well. And it was his second game, I believe, in his career. And I thought he played a lot of poise last year, and you could tell he's going to be a good football player. He went on and had a really nice year and off to a good start last week as well. So, yeah, when you're going to talk about their offensive team, you can talk about a lot of things. But you got to start, I think, with the quarterback and then the receiver group. And one thing about these guys, they'll throw the ball down the field. Like it's not all dink and dunk. They'll fire it down there, and they've got guys that can go get it. So it's a really, it's a dangerous team that way. Jaden Higgins is 6'4", 215-pounder. We remember him from last year, all Big 12. He's got 13 catches out of South Miami. They recruit those tall, lanky receivers in the Big 12, and they're not only tall, but they're talented.
Sure do, and I think he was a transfer from Eastern Kentucky. I can't remember, but it's
Eastern Michigan, I believe, isn't it? No, that's Jalen Jackson.
Southern School, yeah, Eastern Michigan last year. But anyway, yeah, Higgins is a really good football player, and they always seem to have a guy who's 6'3", 6'4", and that guy's usually productive, and certainly Higgins is definitely that. And then Noel on the other side's, or Noel, I guess they pronounce it, is, he's a really good football player too. So both those guys make a really dynamic combination. They're both deep ball threats. They can basically catch anything. And then Eli Green's a guy that transferred in this out of season from North Dakota State. Guy from the Minneapolis Twin City area, and different style. He's not as tall, but very elusive, very quick. So they've got three guys that are really tough to cover.
Yeah, they'll play a half a dozen receivers, which is typical for any Big 12 program, but especially when you throw the ball like Iowa State does. Benjamin Bramer, their outstanding tight end, he's been hurt, but Gabe Burkle is a very capable backup. But Bramer's expected to go this week. And then the running backs, we know all about Abu Sama from Southeast Polk over in Des Moines. Carson Hansen, a sophomore from Lakeville, Minnesota, Minneapolis suburb. He's solid. And Jalen Jackson, the Eastern Michigan transfer. They've got good backs, too, and they use them.
Jackson, they picked up this out of season, and a good return guy and a good running back. Hanson steady, like you said. And Sama had a couple of huge games last year. The Kansas State game, I think he had 500 yards. It was ridiculous. Yeah, it was old-fashioned football there. And then you mentioned Brahmer, a young guy that we just, we're trying to recruit really hard, really liked him as a prospect. And last year I thought he played exceptionally well for a first-year guy. Just looked so calm out there and just really had a real presence to him. And he made some plays against us. I mean, he's tough to defend as well. So I'm assuming he'll be at full speed this week.
6'7", 250 pounds. That's a big tight end.
Yep. Dad's a high school coach, an excellent coach, great program, and this guy's a really good football player.
Up front, they've got 4 or 5 starters back from last year, Kirk, and they're playing a lot of guys too. They've developed some nice depth as well.
They have. They've had a couple guys out last week. It sounds like they'll be back this week. So, you hit it on the head. I think they've got probably 8-9 guys that are very capable of playing good football, and a lot of those guys have a lot of experience in the program. Dylan Barrett being a little different. He was a transfer, but those guys they're a good outfit.
Barrett, former Badger, former Wisconsin Badger from the Chicago area, and they moved Jarrett Hufford to center.
Exactly. Yep. So, and one of us played, and I'm sure he will. They'll, I'm guessing, play more than a couple guys this week, more than just the 5.
Cyclone offense for you, Coach. They're breaking in some new kickers. Kyle Conradi will be there. He didn't have to kick one last week, but he's a redshirt junior out of Dubuque Senior High School, and they've had solid kick. They've had a solid kicking game for a lot of years over there.
Yep, he won the job, and I was hoping maybe you give me a scouting report since you're up in that Dubuque area. But like to your point, he didn't kick one last week, but good high school kicker certainly, and won the job this year. So I know he's doing a good job, and the punting game, they do a good job there. They're really good on special teams. You can tell they coach it, they emphasize it. Most importantly, their players really believe in it and do a good job. So, I mean, they've got a good group, 5-6 guys that are core players on their special teams that have done it for a couple of years, and total buy-in. You can see that with their players. So it's, we're going to have a challenge every time we're out there, every phase.
Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz continues from View Rooftop in just a minute. When we come back, we'll talk about that Iowa State defense. That's next on Hawk Talk from Learfield.
When it comes to your health, you need the full picture. That means the right diagnosis and the right treatment right from the start. I'm Aaron Bowes, pediatric neurologist with University of Iowa Healthcare. Here, we're working together every day to advance medicine so you can get the best care. With more research, more clinical trials, and more treatment options than anywhere else in the state, the University of Iowa Healthcare is changing medicine and changing lives. Learn more at uihc.org.
Hey, hungry? And your heart is ticking for chicken? Well, take a quick turn into Quick-Star, because we got
no ordinary chicken.
Yeah, go wild with wings. Next level super wings with trusty sidekick and sauces. Or let's talk tender. Quick chick tenders. Love me tenders. Love me some quick tenders. Ours are bigger, better, tastier. Or if you're feeling good old school comfort fried chicken, we got it. Hand breaded, down homier than anywhere. Quick-Star, saving your nuggets from ordinary.
Today's agriculture demands expertise, and no lender delivers more ag expertise than Farm Credit Services of America. More than simply having the financial products and services you need to do business, we have the knowledge and commitment to help grow your business. From financing the next season to growing the next generation, we work to achieve your goals. We're Farm Credit Services of America. Call 800-884-FARM. Agriculture works here.
Hey Hawkeye fans, Nick Jackson with Iowa Football here. Your support in the stands is critical to our success on game day, but now you have another way to make a real impact. Join the Swarm today and partner with my teammates and me to service charities throughout Iowa. Together, we're making our state stronger and helping Iowa athletics become the place where we experience the thrill of winning championships. Head to iowaswarm.com for more information. Let's make a difference, Hawkeye Nation.
Treat yourself to one of our award-winning entrees at the Machine Shed. Come get your hands around one of our famous pork tenderloins, our most popular sandwich, served either deep-fried golden brown or unbreaded and grilled. Or try our roasted stuffed Iowa chop that is stuffed with a warm apple raisin dressing and glazed with an apple whiskey sauce. Trust me, you won't regret it. This is Jeff Grunder, and we can't wait to have you over for dinner at the Machine Shed.
I-80 in Hickman Road, Urbandale, and I-80 and Northwest Boulevard, Davenport.
The silly moments, the proud moments, even the hard moments. They're what make life remarkable. And they're why Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield is here for every moment. Committed to making healthcare better, more affordable, with more choices for care. And service and coverage that give you peace of mind no matter what comes your way. So you can show up for every tender moment, every brave moment, and every wouldn't miss it for the world moment. Knowing that Blue is here for you. Go to Wellmark.com/every moment to find a plan right for you.
Welcome back to Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz. Airtime Saturday, 12:30 here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. Our kickoff at 2:30 from Kinnick Stadium. Had a question come in on Facebook, Coach. Hey, Dolph, how'd the first weekend go with Pat Anger? And what do you like about Pat going forward? Well, I love your description of Pat Anger. He's Tom Brands with a cult following. that so fits him. That description fits him almost to a T. And he was jumping around in the booth, grunting and spitting and yelling, and he had a great time.
Well, I'm not sure Tom Brands doesn't have a cult following, too.
Well,
I'm guessing he probably does. But
he does.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I didn't listen to the broadcast. I apologize. Andy Pirro actually brought me a radio. He's out of his mind, but anyway, he brought me one.
You weren't sure you had a radio.
So
Clock
it was one
radio.
of them. Yeah, my bedroom, I guess. I don't know, but anyway. Yeah, I mean, Pat's just an outstanding guy, and he introduced me at the Hall of Fame luncheon on Friday. And, he's one of my all-time favorite players. You know, you're not supposed to have favorites, but you got to love Pat. And the other part, and it's just like, you talked about Sebastian a minute ago. Pat went through a lot of stuff during his career. I think he had mono, or I can't remember. He was out for a while, and I think he was teetering whether he wanted to play or not. At some point early in his career, his roommate had some concussion issues, and they were best friends. Unfortunately, couldn't finish his career, and things weren't just going smooth for him. But boy, he fought through and ended up immersing. Didn't start the 2008 season as our starter, but by October he was in there. Yeah, it was a big part of the reason we went from 3-3 to we won 6 out of 7, and was a great leader on that 2009 team, if not the best leader on that team. So Pat's just an awesome guy, tremendous guy, and he's raising a great young family, and they're great people. So that's the fun part when you get to see guys grow up and be adults and all those types of things. I'm so glad.
Families. Yeah.
So glad he's working with you, and Ed and I exchanged. Ed was one of the first guys to text after the game, and talk about two great guys. So big shoes to fill, certainly.
Yeah, it was great to honor Pody during the game in the first quarter last week for his 41 years behind the microphone.
Pretty impressive.
Indeed.
I have a question. That's Facebook?
Yeah.
That's what it looks like?
No, this isn't what this isn't what Facebook looks like. We just transfer the questions.
I see. Okay.
This is an iPad.
It just looks like, writing to me.
By the way, speaking of iPads, how did you come through technology-wise? The audio to helmet, the iPads. A lot of people feel it'll slow the game down, but you got other ways to communicate signals and with hand gestures and guys holding up cards. But overall, from the 2-minute warning to Tim and his checking down signals to Kate, how'd it go?
Yeah, I had a series of questions I was curious about when I got back to the office on Sunday. And that was one of them. But, yeah, everything was very positive. All the feedback was very positive from the staff. And I think things went really well, and it'll just keep getting better with each and every game. But to me, it just enhances. I think it's good for college football just in general, both the coach, the player, and then the iPads.
Coach, let's get a summation of you from what you know about the Iowa State defense. TJ Tampa, a great defensive back, is gone from a year ago, but they still have a veteran, salty group in the back end. A lot of young linebackers. Caleb Bacon will not be able to play this week. He suffered a lower leg injury last week, had surgery. He's going to be out a while. He's the leader of that linebacking crew, but they have other capable guys. And then up front, they're breaking in a lot of new guys, but they're all big, they're all solid, and they're all tough.
They are. And a lot of those guys played a lot last year, so it's going to look the same, I think. The Sadowski played basically every game last year at middle linebacker, so that's not going to be a big deal for them. They'll be fine there. And the heart of their defense, in my opinion, are the three safeties. They play a unique defense where it's a three-safety defense, two corners. And all three of those guys were all Big 10 mentioned, or all, Big 12. Big 12 mentioned last year. 17 is he's their guy. Like
that'd be Bo Freeler.
Yeah, what a good player. And he replaced a really good guy a couple of years ago, and boy, he's kind of the guy in their defense that really makes them go. And I want to mention number 10, too. Porter's an interesting player.
Corner.
Yeah, he's been a really good special teams player, and same thing. Over time, he's really developed into an outstanding defensive back. So he's a senior guy who really knows what he's doing out there. He's a force on special teams and also, outstanding corner.
He's a sixth-year guy, too. He's been around a while.
Veteran guy.
Malik Verdon, the other safety back there with Freeler. You mentioned three of them. Those two have been rock solid for Coach Haycock, Phil Parker. We got two of the better defensive coordinators in America.
I couldn't agree more. And a couple of years ago when I'm brain farting now. Mike up at Hankowitz was coaching at Northwestern. I thought those were three of the best coordinators in the country, and nobody's talking about any of the three of them. All they did was just put good defenses out there year after year, and Coach Haycock's done a wonderful job with that group.
All right, back with our remaining moments with Coach Ferentz. We're going to meet the University of Iowa healthcare kid captain for Saturday's game in just a minute on Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz from View Rooftop in Learfield.
Hey, Hawkeyes, this is Kirk Ferentz. My players know that success on and off the field requires a strong work ethic with a focus on improvement. Our players share the drive and determination of Iowa farm families, and that's why we're proud to wear the America Needs Farmers logo on our helmets. Please join the Hawkeyes and the Iowa Farm Bureau as we celebrate farmers during A&F Game Day on October 12th. For more information and to win game day tickets, visit americaneedsfarmers.org.
You don't have to go to the game to get a game program. You can download it now by visiting the game day page on HawkeyeSports.com. That's right, the game program is now digital and it's free. So check it out. Get the roster, the stats, and fascinating stories about today's matchup. Just go to HawkeyeSports.com and click on Game Day.
Hey, Hawkeyes, this is Coach Ferentz. We're excited to partner with Iowa Corn for another football season. And Iowa Corn is pumped up for the season with the Hawkeyes. For those of you that drive to the game, support Iowa's corn farmers by selecting unleaded 88 at the pump. It's a fuel choice that's cheaper, homegrown, and better for the planet. It's worth the hype. Get pumped up for unleaded 88. Let's go, Hawks.
At MidAmerican Energy, our 1.6 million customers depend on our energy 24/7. That's why we work 24/7 to deliver the safe, reliable energy you need. To keep our 99.9% reliability record, we're enhancing our technology, improving resiliency, and investing in critical infrastructure. We're generating power from all available resources to cover any increases in demand. And we're innovating to ensure you always have the energy you need. MidAmerican Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Hey Hawkeye fans, Callie Levine with Iowa Women's Basketball here. Your support in the stands is critical to our success on game day, but now you have another way to make a real impact. Join the Swarm today and partner with my teammates and me to service charities throughout Iowa. Together, we're making our state stronger and helping Iowa athletics become the place where we experience the thrill of winning championships. Head to iowaswarm.com for more information. Let's make a difference, Hawkeye Nation.
Get in the game with Hawk Talk. Join Coach Kirk Ferentz and host Gary Dolphin for 90 minutes of Iowa football talk. Wednesdays, 6:30 to 8 Central. Listen live on the Hawkeye Radio Network and Iowa Hawkeyes YouTube channel. Presented by View Rooftop.
Thanks for joining us tonight here at View Rooftop on Hawk Talk with Iowa football coach Kirk Ferentz. Let's welcome this weekend's kid captain, 8-year-old Atlas Coleman of West Des Moines. As a toddler, Atlas Coleman was diagnosed with a non-cancerous lung lesion. Concerned it might be something else, his parents asked for a referral to Children's Hospital, Stead Family. And a biopsy confirmed that Atlas had a fast-growing cancer that forms in lung tissue. He underwent chemotherapy and has been cancer-free now for more than 5 years. What a great story. Congratulations to Atlas Coleman, this week's University of Iowa Healthcare, Stead Family Children's Hospital Kid Captain. Boy, with a name like Atlas, he's appropriately named for that battle, isn't he? 5 years old.
And that's something that's just, you hear these stories. It's just absolutely amazing.
It is.
And the doctors, the nurses, the support staff, all the therapists. It's an amazing place, and thank goodness we've got it here, where everybody in the state can take advantage of it.
Greatest medical technology in the world, no question, Coach. So we'll see eight-year-old Kid Captain Atlas Coleman of West Des Moines on Saturday. You got another great lineup of kid captains this year.
Yeah, I'd hate to be on the committee that has to pick those 12. That's got to be a tough job.
Eugene on Facebook, Coach, how would you elevate or evaluate the way that Seth Wallace handled his interim or part-time head coaching job last weekend in the victory?
Yeah, I'd say the score probably would indicate he did okay. So that's one thing I was afraid of. Everybody'd figure out, it might go better without me being there. So that might be a little prelude to the whole thing.
We're glad you're back. We're glad you're back.
But no, Seth did a great job, and it's a team effort. It's always a team effort. Everybody's got a role on game day, and he had a couple balls in the air as opposed to what he normally does. But I think everybody chipped in. Good communication with each other, and I think we all kind of, we're all pretty much on the same page.
Brett wants to know about Drew Stevens. 40-0, it's easy to lose sight of Drew's performance. Not to us. I mean, his 2 field goals gave you the lead and major league momentum going into the locker room at halftime.
Yeah, he didn't finish the season well last year, but everything he's done since January has been all positive. He's trained well, practiced really well in the spring, and that continued right on through camp. So I think he's primed to have a really good season. And, he's a veteran player, and you hope your veteran guys play like that. And I think Drew's, no question, he's ready to do that.
R. Wilson on Twitter, Coach, welcome back. How does it feel to be back on the sidelines for the biggest rivalry game in the state this weekend? And where were you watching the game? I know you're at home.
Yeah, one general comment. No matter who we're playing, it stinks to not be there, and it's going to be good to be back on the sideline. So we actually have a little gazebo by our pool. It was a beautiful day, so I sat in there and underneath the canopy, whatever it is, and watched it out there, and then moved around a little bit at halftime, and came back there and enjoyed the second half a lot more.
And Mary was there watching with you?
She actually was, yeah, and then second half disappeared, but she was actually behind me. I just didn't see her until she said something later on.
She wasn't very happy either about the first half, but all's well that turns out well. Tim says, if you could design a perfect alignment for college football, what would be your choice? Does this current playoff structure affect your non-conference scheduling? I don't know if you pay a whole lot of attention to that.
Yeah, I mean, the original Big Ten wasn't bad, but it's just a different time right now. And as far as the playoffs goes, I was of the opinion, let's go back to 2 or 12, whatever. But 4 to me just seemed like a dumb thing. But yeah, I'm glad they're expanding it, and if we continue to expand, which wouldn't surprise me, that's fine too. We'll just, I think the more that people are playing, the more opportunities, the better.
The more the merrier. They're invited to the party, right?
Yep.
Let's see here. I got one, Joe on Twitter. Now that the season has started, is there less full contact practices? How often do you put number 1 offense versus number 1 defense, or is it usually the scout team opposing the number 1s?
Yeah, good questions. We try to be smart about how often we have contact, and basically a typical week right now this time of year would be 2 days of practice, Tuesday, Wednesday. Guys are in pads, and we go pretty good. Each of those days our ones go against ones, select amount of plays. Just want to create tempo, keep guys sharp, game ready, that type of thing, and then we work against scout teams. We don't do that in preseason or spring ball, but in season a big shift towards getting ready for your opponent, so you do a lot of scout work. But we also want to do some work against each other where guys are really competing and stand sharp, steal and steal.
Let's work in. Bill from Montrose. He's got a question about the new helmet communication, and we talked about that. It worked fine Saturday. Who on defense has this technology in their helmet? Would that be Schulte or Jay?
It's our middle linebacker, actually, yeah.
Okay.
So Jay. Mm-hmm.
And what happens this is hypothetical. What happens if that player gets hurt or leaves the game? Do other players then have special helmets? How's that work?
I think we've got 6 total. So it's, our linebackers and quarterbacks. All the quarterbacks will have green dots. And, so you're allowed to do that. And you could sub out if you choose to.
Kevin and Sioux Center, will there be alternative uniforms for any games this season?
Yeah,
I know that's high on your
that's
list.
a good question. Don't ask me. I guess that's my answer. Imagine we got a blackout somewhere in there, but that's one thing. It's like, okay.
Well, so I guess, in other words, Kevin, stay tuned from Sioux Center.
One thing we will not wear is black pants and white jerseys. Not that I'm superstitious, but that won't be happening.
No black pants and all white jerseys. Not even with gold trim.
Nope.
I'm with you.
Nope.
Right.
Not this time.
Hey, it's great to have you back.
Great to be back, and looking forward to meeting Kenny, certainly.
Yeah. We'll see you at 2:30 on Saturday afternoon. I know you'll be there.
I think kickoff's 2:40, actually, so not to be specific, but yeah. So, and CBS.
And CBS. Welcome back, CBS.
Here we go.
Last time they did an Iowa football game was number 1 versus number 2. And we'll see it on Saturday at Kennett. Good night, everybody.
On the Hawkeye Sports Network from Learfield, live from View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn in downtown Iowa City. Hawk Talk has been brought to you by Mid-American Energy. Call 811 before you dig. It's the law. Visit MidAmericanEnergy.com for natural gas safety tips. Iowa corn. You might think Iowa just grows corn, but the truth is corn grows Iowa. Brought to you by Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. By your local Ford dealers. U.S. Cellular, the official wireless partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes. U.S. Cellular, built for us. Also brought to you by University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.